Hey friends, welcome back to Unblocked with Jessica Smarro. This is the podcast where we identify and remove the blocks standing in the way of living the life that you were designed for. Welcome, welcome. I am so excited to be here with you all today. Let's just take a moment for gratitude. I am so grateful to each and every one of you who tune into the pod, who send me questions, who reach out and tell me the impact that the podcast is having on you, or when you share it with your friends. For those of you who reach out and give me suggestions for episode topics. So, first, thank you. Thank you, thank you. And now also a request. If you are not already following the podcast, please stop what you're doing, go to your preferred podcast platform and hit that little plus sign. Also, I would be so grateful if you would take a moment to rate the podcast and leave a review. Okay, now that I've gotten that out of the way, I've asked you for something. Allow me to return the favor and offer you some value today. If you saw the title for today's episode, you know we are talking about letting go. And I know that you are stoked for this because I did a podcast many moons ago, episode 21. I did a podcast on letting go, and it is still the blue ribbon first place winner for the most listened to downloads. So, like by a lot, y'all. So, for those of you who have not listened to that gem, go back, check out episode 21. And in that episode, I will say I talked about a 12-step process for letting go. And the focus of that was really kind of letting go in a way that was aimed a little bit more interpersonally, like letting go of external things, letting go of another person, or letting go of something that someone has done, perhaps. But today's episode is going to be a little more focused intrapersonally. And it's inspired by a couple of things. And one of those is a question I read in Rachel Hollis's new book. And that question was, what must I let go of in order to be the person I want to be? And I love me a powerful question. And for me, this is one of those. And also, I might add, let me just take a moment. In that book, she also talked about, she said that becoming who we are isn't about adding more. It's about subtracting what doesn't belong. And y'all, she also shared the anecdote of Michelangelo's David, when how Michelangelo famously said, I just removed everything that wasn't David when he was carving out the statue of David. And I would like to share with you what happened in my brain when I read these things. I mean, first of all, the question, I was like, oh, this is powerful. I want to reflect on what must I let go of to be the person I want to be. And then when I heard her talking about the subtraction stuff and the Michelangelo stuff, my brain was like, hey, I say all of these things. Like the name of my podcast is Unblocked because I believe that our work is about removing the blocks to the awareness of what is already within us. And how many times have I said, probably on here or when I'm a guest on other people's podcasts, that it's a subtraction problem, not an addition problem. This is not, our work is not to go out and get more, to get more information, to get more skills. A lot of the times it's about removing the blocks to what is already there. I've also even used the Statue of David reference very recently, actually, in a keynote. So, all of that to say, here's what my brain offered up. The toddler side of my brain, the default side, we'll say, was like, oh my gosh, people are going to think you copied her. And I experienced some discomfort about this. But I remembered very quickly, like, okay, I did not actually, I did not in fact copy her. That my podcast obviously has existed long before this book was written and before I read it. And I had done the keynote talk before I even started reading this book. But that was one thing that my brain offered up. But my second thought I will let you all know, is that my brain was like, basically, this is evidence that I am as brilliant and as this successful thought leader and like the author, Rachel Hollis. So I was like, yeah, basically, this is evidence that I'm just so smart. And so y'all, listen, if any of you listen, if you happen to know Rachel Hollis or you happen to know the second cousin of the ex-wife of somebody who knows Rachel Hollis personally, please connect us. We obviously need to be friends. We obviously need to be on each other's podcasts. So you might be asking, Jessica, why are you sharing this? Let me tell you, the reason I wanted to share this with you, I want to like pull back the curtains on my brain for a moment, is because this is how our brains work. They offer us a ton of thoughts every day, it's like upwards of 60,000. And here's the thing, some of those thoughts serve us and some of them don't. And this is why we have thought work. This is why we have mindset coaching, so that we can build the muscle of supervising our brain and directing it on purpose. My brain offered up very different thoughts. Like they created and these thoughts created very different feelings, right? About the same dang circumstance. Rachel Hollis wrote words in a book, and my brain was like, oh my gosh, people are gonna think that I have no original thoughts and that I'm just stealing ideas from her. And those thoughts made me feel anxious and insecure and inadequate, even. And then my brain also thought, hey, this is evidence that you are basically genius and you deserve to be in the same circles as Rachel Hollis. We should probably share a stage together. Great, right? And those thoughts brought feelings of like reassurance, a little bit of confidence, and even like some camaraderie. Like I am in her circle. And so this is your thought work. I just wanted to like offer that up as like your thought work PSA of the day. Okay, that your brain is going to give you a lot of thoughts. Some of them serve you, some don't. So choose them on purpose. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, let me get back to the point of today's podcast, which is I would like to present you with the question that I read in that book. And that question is, what must you let go of in order to be the person you want to be? I actually posed this question to my community, and here are some of the responses I got. I got responses like, I must let go of fear, false beliefs, protective commentary that runs in my brain, those internal narratives that defend but also constrain me. Scarcity, thoughts like I'll never be enough, money scarcity, I never have enough time, money, and support. Another response was people pleasing, the fear of disappointing others, things like ego, the past, the need for external validation. Other responses were guilt, shame, fear of failure, attachments. And I sat with those responses and I was like, yeah, yes to all of that. And then here, I have to share this. This was so, this like got me. This is something that one of my clients said in session that I clearly is memorable and never forgettable. She said, I want to explore the potential of what God had in mind when He made me. And then she also said, I never want to cheat myself out of who I was made to be. And y'all, like, that was a knee slapper for me. I was like, okay, it just hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, I love so much about that. And here's the thing, in order to do that, in order to explore the potential of what God had in mind when He made you, in order to never cheat yourself out of who you're made to be, we have got to let go of the stuff that is standing in the way of that knowing. In order to explore the potential of who you're created to be, you've got to remove all those blocks and the layers on top of it, just like the statue of David. So you might be asking yourself, Jessica, how do we do that? How do we actually loosen our grip and release? And we are going to get into that today. But first, I want to take a moment to talk about why letting go is so hard. Because it's wild, right? Like y'all know, even when you know something is no longer serving you, a job, a relationship, a belief, you are still holding on. Why? Here, let me tell you. The why is because our brains crave familiar. Familiar to our brain, familiar equals safe. Even if it's miserable, your brain is just wired to keep you alive. It is not wired to thrive, right? Like it's just about survival. And then we have like the amygdala, which is the fear center part of our brain, and that lights up when you approach uncertainty. So letting go literally on a neurological level feels like danger. You've heard the saying, better the devil we know than the devil we don't, right? Like unfamiliar equals wildly unsafe. Uncertain, unknown equals unsafe to your brain. And then add in the dopamine loops. Like think about those little biochemical rewards that we get from the familiar. Maybe it's like the validation from overworking or the attention you get from conflict, right? That one might be an uncomfortable one to hear. Or the comforting numbness of avoidance. Like even chaos can become addictive when our brains have paired it with some kind of payoff. So even the worst patterns, like patterns that we know are hurting us, can feel impossible to release because on some level they've been giving us something. Like even if that something is certainty. Okay. And then letting go bumps up against like the identity component of it. Like we don't just let go of behaviors, we're letting go of this version of ourselves that needed those behaviors. So like the achiever, the fixer, the people pleaser, the loyal one, the one who always had it together. These roles that we played, the masks that we wore, the stories we told ourselves to feel safe or worthy, those can be really hard to let go of. So letting go can feel like an ego death, like something like imagine like standing in front of a mirror and you like see this outline where you used to be. You're like, who am I without these things? Like so often we identify based on the roles that we play, right? So it can be really scary to let those go. And then there's the grief. Oh, the grief, right? Sometimes it's for like when you're letting go, like you're grieving the loss of something you had. And sometimes you grieve the loss of what you thought you were going to have. Like you grieve the loss of the future. You grieve the loss of the potential, like that dream, the promise, the possibility of what could have been. So it's not always about the loss of reality. Sometimes it's the loss of what we hoped it would be. And so when it comes to letting go of things like think about the things on the list from my community, things like fear, false beliefs, guilt, shame, the need for validation, the fear of failure, all of those other things that my community responded with, like the difficulty multiplies because those aren't just emotions, they're protective frameworks. Like they've been your bodyguard, your coping strategies, your identity scaffolding. Like think about fear, it keeps you alert to danger and it gives you the illusion of control. Like, let me say that again, the illusion of control. And then false beliefs, they become these mental shortcuts that help you make sense of the world. Like even if they limit you, they help you make sense. You're like, yeah, that works, right? That resonates. That's believable, even if it limits you. Right. And then scarcity, it keeps you in motion, right? It keeps you working hard so that you never have to feel the terror of not enough. And then think about people pleasing. People pleasing secures connection and belonging and avoiding the risk of being unloved, really, right? And then ego steps in to defend your worth, right? It's like ego comes in when you're like, if you're feeling exposed or vulnerable, ego shows up. And then the past becomes this reference point that grounds you, even if it changes you. And then think about validation. Like it's a quick fix for self-doubt. And then guilt and shame, like these feel like moral compasses. Right? Like even though they usually keep you playing small and feel terrible, like they feel like, oh, this is like I'm morally sound. There's a morally sound way to be. And then failure becomes proof of inadequacy rather than the evidence of effort. And so we carry it as an identity instead of just data, right? And then attachments, those are tricky because attachment is literally wired into your nervous system from early development. Like, so attachments feel like safety even when they're not. So I just want you to hear all that. Like letting go isn't just about setting something down. It's about rewiring your safety signals. It's a whole body. Let me say this again. It is a whole body, whole being process. So can we just like start with a round of applause actually? Like if you are even like you just get a whole standing ovation, a round of applause for even starting the journey of letting go. Because I just listed off like we are overcoming neurological patterning. We're overcoming evolution here, really, friends. Okay. So now I told you I was going to tell you how. I was going to give you something. So I want to get into a framework that will help support you in letting go. And I call this the letting go map. And this is a neuroscience, psychologically informed process to help you actually release what is no longer serving you. Okay. So there are 8 parts to this. So the first step is normalize the discomfort. Letting go feels hard because it is hard, right? Your brain, and as I mentioned this a little bit already, but your brain interprets uncertainty as danger. So your opportunity here is to reframe it. This discomfort, this is actually what growth feels like. So it's not hard because it's dangerous or bad. It's hard because it's unfamiliar, and my brain thinks that that is dangerous. But actually, this is what growth feels like. So let's use an example. I'm going to go through these 8 steps and I'll use the example of letting go of people pleasing. Okay, because this is one that I know a lot of y'all are working to overcome and let go of. So let's say the thing that you must let go of in order to be the person you want to be is people pleasing. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, people pleasing, people pleasing is that constant habit of saying yes when you mean no, that overextending yourself, twisting yourself into versions that you think others want you to be. So let's apply this first step to letting go of people pleasing. So normalize the discomfort. So letting go of people pleasing feels dangerous to your brain because it's your survival strategy, right? It's how you secure connection. So when you start setting boundaries or other people feel disappointed by your boundaries, your nervous system is going to light up and send warning signals like danger, danger is like flashing in your brain. So you can soothe this by reminding yourself, discomfort doesn't mean I'm wrong. It means I'm growing. I even reminding yourself, I expected discomfort to show up. This is right on time. I knew my brain would experience discomfort because this is unfamiliar. And that actually just means I'm doing it, right? It doesn't mean I'm unsafe. It just means it's unfamiliar. I'm right on target. Okay. And then so step two is rewire the identity narrative. So instead of saying I'm no longer people pleasing, you're going to try, I'm becoming someone who. And here's where you can use some alter egos or next level archetypes to level up. So this is not about losing yourself. This is about uncovering more of you. So if we use our people pleasing example, instead of saying, I'm not a people pleaser anymore, you might try on, I'm becoming someone who honors their needs as much as I honor other people's needs. I'm becoming someone who honors their own needs without apology. Right? And this is going to start, this like subtle shift will start allowing space for both compassion and boundaries, right? You're not being mean, you're being real, you're being honest. And I love the alter ego approach where you can like tap into a future version of you who already lives with this truth. Like somebody who sees boundaries as love, right? Prentice Hemphill, the boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me at the same time. We love that quote. But think about this version who knows that boundaries are love, this person who speaks their truth with calm and confidence. And so you might name this person. And I love a good alliteration. So let's just say you name it the grounded guardian. And they are calm, self-assured, they're deeply loving, but never performs for approval. Like they check in with themselves before they say yes. They know their worth is not up for negotiation. And when you're about to fall into that familiar people-pleasing pattern, check in and ask yourself, what would the grounded guardian do right now? Remember those bracelets, WWJD? You might get a little WWGD, right? What would the grounded guardian do right now? And so that alter ego can become your emotional anchor until until you become that version, until this becomes like habitual and second nature, you can anchor into that. All right, step three, validate the grief. Letting go means loss. And so it is okay to mourn it, right? You might like write a letter, right? You can burn it. Nobody has to read it. Like you might write a letter, you might burn it, you might tear it up, cry it out. Like you can say goodbye symbolically. You can honor what was. Think about people pleasing. People pleasing often gave you something. Maybe it gave you praise and acceptance and belonging. And so you might grieve the loss of those reactions, even if they were conditional, right? But you want to give yourself space to say, hey, I am sad that being honest might mean some people walk away. But I'm more sad about walking away from myself. Okay. But let yourself like acknowledge the grief of the letting go process. Like it might be a good idea. You might know it is in your best interest to let go of this thing. And at the same time, you might feel some grief and sadness around it, and you want to honor that. Okay, step four in the letting go map is break the dopamine loop. Dysfunctional habits often give you little rewards like validation, comfort, distraction, even. So you want to replace that loop. You want to create new, healthier rewards. Ritual, connection, movement. These are ways to bring some new, healthier rewards. So your brain gets little hits of dopamine, for example, when someone thanks you so much, you're the best, you always come through, right? Like for our people pleasers. And so letting go of people pleasing means your reward system is going to need an update. So you want to start tracking internal rewards like peace, energy, authenticity. Like notice how it feels in your body when you say yes to you. Now notice I didn't say, notice how it feels in your body when you say no to someone. That's going to feel terrible. We've already decided that. But also check in with your body to see how does it feel when you say yes to you. And if checking in your body, it feels like a wildly foreign concept, just do a body scan, okay? Think about how much you enjoy saying yes to yourself, and then just start at the top of your head and just do a body scan and see what sensations you have in your body. Okay, number five, build micro loss tolerance. How you like that? We're going to start building the tolerance, little micro losses at a time. So start small. Like, think about like with letting go, like you might start like clean out a drawer, right? Say no to something tiny, like just something that starts to build your nervous system's tolerance for bigger releases, right? It's like you're cleaning out a drawer. It seems innocuous, but you have those moments. Y'all know you go to your junk drawer and you're like, oh, I might need that someday. Right. So even in that, like you are building just a tolerance to this micro loss that I might need this thing someday, but I think I could overcome the discomfort that would come with that. Okay. And like with people pleasing, start small with that also. Like say no to something that's low risk. Like let someone be disappointed, someone that you trust and you know you could actually weather the storm. Like practice letting yourself sit with the feelings of someone being disappointed and then watch yourself survive it. Watch yourself not die, basically. Okay. And each rep, you're going to build your resilience and your nervous system's capacity to hold boundaries. Okay, number 6 is use the body. Like letting go is not just a mental process, it is physical. And so this is where you can get into movement, like shaking and dancing and breathing and walking. You want to notice where the tension of letting go, like notice the tension that comes up in your body and then move it out. Like with anxiety and tension, it needs action and movement. If those of you who are watching the video of this, I'm like shaking my body right now as I talk. So think about with people pleasers, we often carry tension in the chest and the jaw and the shoulders. So the next time you feel that urge to fix or appease, I want you to pause, drop your shoulders. Maybe you shake it out like Florence and the Machines style, right? Breathe. Maybe just pause and take a nice intentional breath. Like go dance in the kitchen, take the dog for a walk. Tell your body, I am safe. I do not have to earn my belonging. Okay, and number 7, this is where I want you to anchor into a vision and a purpose. Like, this is where you're exploring your why. Like, what are you releasing towards? Maybe you do a journal from your future self. Name your why, let it pull you forward. And so, again, if we're using the example of people pleasing, you might ask the question, like, why do I want to let this go? What is it? Why? What is important about this? And your answer might be because truth matters, because my energy is sacred, because I want real connection, not performance. So journal from your future self and like really live into it. Like here's what my life looks like now. Here's how I feel. Here's how I think, feel, and show up. Here's how people respond to me when I show up honestly and I don't shrink. Right? Let yourself go to that future place. And then the last step in the letting go map is lean on your people. Letting go doesn't have to be lonely. You can share your process. Let someone witness it. Let someone love you through it. And if you do not have someone in your natural support system that feels very easy for you to trust in this process, get a therapist, get a coach. And like, I want to use the example of like practicing letting go of people pleasing. Find somebody who you know, like one of your most trusted people, right? Somebody who you know would celebrate your boundaries, not punish them, right? And you can even tell them ahead of time, like, hey, I would not, you could, I would invite you to tell them ahead of time, I'm practicing being honest, even when it feels scary, right? I'm practicing honoring my yes, I'm practicing honoring my no. And that means there are going to be times that I'm going to tell you no, and it's really hard for me to do that because I'm afraid you'll be disappointed or mad at me. And I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to ask you to be my support person in that. Like you don't have to do it alone. Let someone witness. And imagine like being the person on the receiving. Like imagine one of your people who you love and adore came to you and said something like that. I would have, if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I feel so honored that this is the place where you're willing to do your hard. Like, so let yourself be supported. It's scary, but it's powerful. So here's what I want you to anchor into. Letting go is not giving up. It is not failure. It's not weakness. Letting go is courage. It's clarity. It's devotion to the highest version of you. And this is not about abandoning who you were. It's about making space for who you already are underneath all of the noise, underneath all of the blocks, right? Letting go is how you get unblocked. So I want to just leave you with a couple questions to reflect on. Okay, these are some questions to like get you leaning into the letting go process. And so you can get a little notepad, get your notes app on your phone, pause this and come back to it. The questions are, I can give you 4 questions. What are you clinging to that you've already outgrown? What story are you ready to release? What fear is keeping your grip tight right now? And who do you become when you let it go? Okay, I want you to write these down. I want you to sit with them. I want you to talk to your people about them. And to support you in this letting go process, I have created a companion worksheet for today's episode, and I will drop a link to that in the show notes so you can get access. So if this episode resonated with you all, please share it with someone who needs this message today. And then DM me. I want to hear your biggest takeaways. I want to hear what you are letting go of. And if you are ready to go deeper, to explore what is blocking your next level, I currently have openings in my coaching container. I invite you to do this together. Thank you all for being here. Until next time, my friends, stay open, stay free.